This is Ed Lanham. We're out here on a beautiful fall day in November. Probably one of the prettiest days we've had this fall. Between all the wind and the rain and things we've had. This is Thanksgiving Day, and it is a beautiful day to give thanks. I'm here at the North Rolling Fork River, which is in the area where Boyle, Marion, and Casey counties meet. This is kind of the head of the river, which we always considered it a creek, but as it goes further on down, it becomes more of a river. We've recently had a colony of beavers to move in here in this area, basically right in front of my grandmother's house, which is over here next to the Forkland Community Center. It's a major endeavor for them to try to build a dam on the North Rolling Fork. And I knew, even as energetic and as hard workers as they are, this was probably not a good idea. We watched the dam for 2 or 3 weeks, and eventually we had a couple-inch rain and it washed all their work away. Needless to say, they're probably still in the area. Usually a beaver colony consists of parents and their offspring. Unfortunately, on the road right here beside me, one of the beavers got hit by a car a few weeks ago, but I'm sure the rest of the colony probably is still around. We see all the work that they've done from the trees that have been cut here on the banks, and we're going to look at a little bit of this and study a few things and facts about the beaver. They are the largest rodent we have here in Kentucky. They're a very interesting animal, probably the most the workingest animal that we probably know of. They're very smart. They're engineers in order to figure out how to hold back gallons and thousands of gallons of water. So they're probably one of the most fascinating animals we've had. Growing up on this river years ago, we really didn't see very many beaver. And once they started moving in the last 15 or 20 years, now they've become a pretty common sight in creeks and streams here in Kentucky. So in the next few minutes we're going to learn a little bit more about beavers and see some of their work, and hopefully find some dams maybe that are still around, and see some of the tree stumps and things that they have done here in this area. So go with us in the next few minutes and let's have a walk with the beavers of Kentucky. Here in front of us are some of the obvious signs that beaver have been here, and that's the tree stumps that are left. Now, a tree stump that has been eaten by a beaver will have definite characteristics: that it has been chewed on. It'll go up to a point where the beaver chew on each of the sides, and then finally the tree will fall. These trees have been done in past years. These are not trees done by the new colony, but as you can see, it killed the trees. There's about 5 little trees in this area here that have been killed by these beavers at some point over the years. And you can see the sharp points. As much as I like these animals, and they're as fun as they are to watch and study, they are very destructive. Here's another little stump on the same creek bank a few feet down. As you see, this little tree is trying to grow back where the beavers have eaten it off, but you see the sharp point on the end of it. This definitely was done by beaver and not a chainsaw or axe or anything. All along the river here we continue to find stump after stump after stump where the beaver have been here and taken their trees, eaten the portion they want, and then they use the rest to build their dam. Beavers have one of the most efficient digestive systems that there is. They can take this old hard wood, which is very low in protein, very inefficient for most animals to survive on, and they can live extremely well on this wood. The beaver tried to dam up 2 different areas here across from close to the Forkland Community Center. One of them is where a gravel bar comes in and has a little inlet here. they built a dam, which it had to be just a really small dam, to close up this area and let the high waters washed it out too. As you can see right where the water comes in between these two gravel bars, they had a couple of foot dam built there. Like I said, once you get a couple of inches of rain up these valleys, water gets up several feet. These beaver dams are no match to this much water. Here's a more recent stump closer to where the beaver dam was. That is this year's or this colony's beavers damage. And usually they'll leave about a foot to a foot and a half of trunk where they eat this or cut off these trees, and that's about the height of the beaver when they're chewing, and that's why you're seeing they see these stumps about that height. That's a comfortable place for them to sit and gnaw on these trees. This particular trunk that was left still has some of the pieces left below it where the beavers chewed into the tree and bit the pieces off until they got the tree cut down. Here's another one even more recent. This one still has the sap coming out of the trunk that was left. It has all kinds of chewed pieces all around it where the beaver took his time cutting this little tree down. All these trees have been cut down, and you see none of the trees here except for the trunks and the chips where they took them down. The rest of the tree was taken away by the beavers to their dam. I'm standing here at the edge of the North Rolling Fork River and the edge of Boyle County in the gravel switch area. And right behind me here was the site of a really neat beaver dam a few days ago. But unfortunately the November rains that we've had kind of took care of that and wiped the dam out. But whether the beavers are still in this area, we don't know. They could have moved on to another part of the river. But they had a nice little, probably 2 to 3 foot dam going completely across the river here. One of the things that they were using to build their dam besides branches was corn stalks. Just across the highway here, a few feet away, is a cornfield, and the beaver had been seen going back and forth to that cornfield. And we look here, here's some of the corn stalks they brought back over with them, and these stalks are still laying here on the banks. Here's several more right here behind me. So they were using these corn stalks as some filler besides the tree limbs, to finish their dams. Here is one of their paths going up and down the bank. This path led to the cornfield across the road. As you see, it's all the way down to the mud where the beavers could easily slide back into the river if they felt threatened in any way. They had a pile built up here at the edge that I guess they were building up the pile in order to take it to their dam, but the pile still sits here. There's corn stalks, tree limbs, leaves, all kinds of debris in this pile.